Welcome to the second part of our turnover analysis. In the last tutorial, we saw when people are leaving, uh, and we calculated a turnover rate, and we also came up with the top reasons why people are leaving. One of the things we were analyzing as well was that this includes people who left or who didn't even make it to training. So what happens if we take them out? So we're going to take them out by including as a filter the weeks employed, taking out the ones who have a zero. That means they didn't make it to training. And if we take them out, now the month with the highest attrition is August. Uh, the grand total comes down from 247 to 183. It's an advancement. And if we do that same thing with reasons, they change as well. We're taking them out because we're trying to figure out a way to prevent people from leaving and not precisely to prevent people from not showing up to training, especially because the cost is a lot higher when people rate to. So now we're going to do the second part of our analysis, and we're going to try to answer what other variables that are easily available to us can be influencing turnover. So we gather this data from a database, the age, the high school degree, if the person has a high school degree, yes or no, if they're currently studying, yes or no. I've already transformed this variable into 1 and 0 to make it more easy. And the months of previous experience before being hired for this job, and the interviewing score. That's a range from 1 to 10, but apparently they only hired people who had at least a 5. And so to analyze it, we're going to create pivot tables. I already created them. Um, and first, the high school diploma, no or yes. And you can see a big difference in the average weeks people remain in the company when they had a high school diploma. And also the standard deviation was a little bit high, but um, it's worth noticing the difference. Um, we're going to analyze as well um, without people who didn't make it to training. And out of the people who didn't make it to training, 65% uh, didn't have a high school diploma. And here the difference is not as high as before, but it's still noticeable. It's 2 times the tenure. And here we have the top reasons uh, separated by doesn't have a high school diploma and has a high school diploma. Um, we're going to take out as well the people who didn't make it to training to see how different it looks. And from people who don't have a high school diploma, a lot of them left the training while they were there. Um, and the people who do have a high school diploma, uh, they have some other reasons. Now we're going to analyze what happens if they're currently studying or not. Uh, the average is telling us that people who are not currently studying remains a little bit longer. The same here, analyzing, uh, not taking into account people who didn't make it to training. The difference is almost the same. It's about 3 more weeks. And here, let's take out the people who didn't make it to training. As a reminder, we're taking um, people with 0 weeks of employment. That means they didn't make it to training. If we take them out, 10% of them didn't were not currently studying, and 90% of them were studying. Now let's analyze the interviewing score. As you can see, um, it goes from 5 to 10, and there seems to be some sort of relationship. People with scores of 9 and 10 have higher average tenure in weeks, and then the people who have less than those scores, especially those who have 5 and 6s. Let's view it now in a scatter chart. Um, Here the scatter chart is interviewing score versus weeks employer or tenure. Um, the R square is very low, so there doesn't seem to be a relationship. Previous experience versus weeks employed, there's a higher relationship. It's about 33.33 the R square, and you can see there's some sort of relationship there. As well, age versus weeks employed, there also seems to be a relationship there. That's as far as we can go with descriptive analytics. In our next sections or our next tutorials, we're going to dive deeper into some survival analysis and predictive analytics as well. So stay tuned.